Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something pretty extraordinary.
Definitely. We're looking at a leaked, supposedly centuries-old blood oath,
Right, an oath alleged to be taken by the highest ranks of the Jesuits. And, get this, our source claims even the Pope takes it.
which is a huge claim. What's really striking about this deep dive is how our main source frames it all.
How so?
It's based around this audio excerpt, which calls it the extreme blood oath of the Jesuits.
Okay.
And it asserts they don't actually serve God or Christendom, but something the source calls Mystery Babylon.
Mystery Babylon. Okay, that's a term you hear in certain apocalyptic interpretations, right? Symbolizing a sort of hidden, corrupt power.
Exactly. That's the lens here, a hidden global force.
All right, so let's unpack this. Our mission today is to really explore these claims, look at the alleged details of the oath, the rituals.
And critically examine the assertions about its authenticity, its implications, all based on what this specific source material presents.
It sounds like quite a journey into, well, a potentially hidden world, if you believe the source.
Indeed. And the core material, as mentioned, comes from an audio excerpt. The person identifies as Kenyan from ragingreptilian.com.
Kenyan, okay. And how does he position himself?
He calls himself a longtime researcher of secret societies. He says this background gives him, unique insights.
And he's quite confident about this oath being real.
Oh, very. He doesn't just present it. He gives specific reasons for believing it's authentic.
Like what?
Well, first, he claims it was leaked on the internet years ago, and he personally considers it, quote, authentic.
Okay, so a leak claim. What else?
He links this belief to his own claimed experiences with initiation rituals in groups like the Freemasons and the Order of the Eastern Star.
The Eastern Star, that's the Masonic group for women, right?
Correct. He says he got insights because he was invited to join 3 different orders, took lodge tours of 2,
Okay.
including the Masons.
And even dated a Mason's daughter who was in the Eastern Star. That's quite specific.
Very. He argues this gives him a kind of insider's perspective on how these groups supposedly work.
And then there's this claim about accessing their website.
Yeah, this is a big one for his credibility claim. He asserts he got into the restricted members-only section of the Freemasons' website.
Yeah.
He says he used the username Ashlar and password Keystone. Very specific details, again, to log in.
And downloaded their materials.
That's the claim. Downloaded books, teachings, which he says forms the basis of his expertise. It's a bold claim.
Definitely bold. Does he ground the oath itself in anything more, say, historical?
He does. He points to a book, Subterranean Rome by Charles Didier, published back in 1843.
Okay, 1843. That gives it some historical context, at least for the text itself.
Right. And to further bolster authenticity, he brings up Dr. Alberto Rivera.
Rivera. The name sounds familiar. He claimed to be an ex-Jesuit.
That's him. Allegedly escaped in 1967. Kenyan claims Rivera described the Jesuit oath in exactly the same way as it appears in that 19th century book.
So a potential corroboration, at least within the narrative the source presents. Interesting.
It raises questions, for sure.
So why is Kenyan putting this out there? What's his stated motivation?
He's pretty upfront about it. He says he's frustrated with platforms like YouTube demonetizing his videos when he talks about the Vatican or Rome.
Ah, so he sees it as censorship.
Exactly. An attempt to silence exposure of these orders, as he calls them. He even says defiantly, every time you do that to me, I'm just going to make more videos exposing your orders.
Okay, so he frames himself not just as a researcher, but maybe as a sort of crusader for this information.
That's a good way to put it. And understand that lens, that motivation, is really crucial when you're evaluating his claims.
Absolutely. So with that context set, let's get into the alleged ritual itself. What does the source describe?
It describes the setting as the Chapel of the Covenant of the Order. Very formal sounding.
And who's there?
It's apparently quite intimate. Just 4 people. The candidate, who's called a postulate, a principal superior, and 2 monks.
Okay, a small group. What does the chapel look like? Any specific visuals?
Yes, the source paints quite a scene. 2 prominent banners are mentioned.
Banners, what kind?
One is yellow and white. The source identifies these as papal colors.
Right.
But then it also makes this connection to the colors of Switzerland and, quote, Vatican banking. So adding layers there.
Interesting link. And the other banner?
That one's black. It's described as having a dagger and a red cross above a skull and crossbones. Classic secret society imagery, almost.
Definitely sounds like it. Does the source explain the symbolism?
Oh, yes, in detail. The red cross is called a symbol of the Knights Templar going back to Babylon.
Whoa, Babylon. That's a big leap from the Templars.
It is, and it's connected to sexual magic rites. That's another common theme in some conspiracy circles, linking these symbols to ancient pre-Christian practices.
Right, and the skull and crossbones.
That's linked to Latin words "norigis impius." The source translates this as to exterminate or annihilate impious or heretical kings, governments, or rulers.
So extremely militant symbolism, according to this interpretation. Where's the candidate in all this?
Kneeling. Specifically, kneeling on a red cross that's laid out on the floor adds to the whole dramatic effect.
It certainly does. What about objects? Does the candidate hold anything?
Yes, and this part is quite chilling. They're told to hold a small black crucifix in their left hand, pressing it to their heart.
Okay, a crucifix.
But in the right hand, they hold a dagger. Not by the hilt, but by the blade, with the point resting against his heart.
Wow, point against the heart.
Yes, while the superior holds the hilt. It's a very potent image, clearly meant to convey seriousness and, well, danger.
No kidding. That image alone sets a serious tone. What happens next? Does the superior speak?
Yes, this is where the instructions begin. And it sounds, honestly, like a spy's handbook.
A spy's handbook? How so?
The candidate is reportedly taught to act the dissembler. Even among fellow Roman Catholics, they should pretend to be just a regular Catholic while actually being a spy.
A dissembler. Basically a deceiver.
Right. And to be a spy, even among your own brethren, to believe no man, to trust no man. It emphasizes total infiltration and suspicion.
Profound deception. Does it get more specific about who they should deceive?
It does. The instructions are to adapt based on the group they're infiltrating. Among the reformers, to be a reformer.
Okay.
Among the Huguenots, to be a Huguenot. Among the Calvinists, to be a Calvinist. Among the Protestants, generally to be a Protestant.
So chameleon-like.
Yeah.
Changing beliefs based on the audience.
Exactly. It even says a Jew among Jews.
Wow. And the purpose of all this shape-shifting.
Explicitly stated, according to the source, that you might be enabled to gather together all information for the benefit of your order as a faithful soldier of the Pope.
A faithful soldier of the Pope. So information gathering is key. Does it go beyond just gathering intel?
Oh, yes. The instructions allegedly detail how to actively sow discord.
Sow discord? Like how?
Things like insidiously plant the seeds of jealousy and hatred between communities.
That's quite manipulative.
And it escalates. Incite them to deeds of blood and create revolutions and civil wars in countries that were independent and prosperous.
Create revolutions? That's a huge claim about their alleged goals. How would they even achieve that?
The strategy described is particularly interesting. The Jesuit is told to take sides with the combatants.
Okay, pick a side.
And to act secretly with your brother Jesuit, who might be engaged on the other side, but openly opposed to that which you might be connected.
Wait, so Jesuits on both sides of a conflict secretly coordinating?
That's the allegation.
Sure.
Working together behind the scenes while appearing to be enemies.
For what purpose?
So that, quote, the church might be gainer in the end.
And that leads to the famous phrase.
Exactly. The end justifies the means. Presented here as a core guiding principle. This idea of controlling both sides, it's a classic element in many complex conspiracy theories.
It really is. Suggests a master manipulator behind the scenes. Very hard to prove or disprove something like that.
Definitely. And the scope of this alleged espionage is, well, massive.
How massive?
The directive is to gather all statistics, facts, and information in your power from every source.
Every source.
By getting inside the family circle of Protestants and heretics of every class and character. But also...
Also where?
Among the merchant, the banker, the lawyer, among the schools and universities and parliaments and legislators and judiciaries and councils of state.
So penetrating every level of society.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
It's summed up as being all things to all men for the Pope's sake. Total infiltration.
That's quite a mandate. Before the actual oath is sworn, is there anything else?
Yes, there's a really chilling statement attributed to the superior about how one advances in this order.
Oh.
He apparently states that none can command here who has not consecrated his labors with the blood of the heretic.
Consecrated labors with blood.
Yes, and adds, without shedding the blood of no man can be saved.
Wow. Okay, that sets an incredibly grim tone for the oath itself.
It absolutely does. It foreshadows just how extreme the language is going to be.
So let's get to it. The core of the oath. How does it start?
It begins with a very formal pledge, invoking a whole host of figures.
Like who?
In the presence of Almighty God, the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Blessed Michael the Archangel, The Blessed St. John the Baptist, the Holy Apostles, St. Peter and St. Paul, and all the saints and sacred hosts of heaven.
So calling on the entire hierarchy of heaven, basically. Who are they pledging allegiance to?
Unwavering allegiance to the Pope. He is declared Christ's vice-regent and the true and only head of the Catholic or universal church throughout the earth.
Okay, standard Catholic doctrine so far.
But then it adds this layer. Asserting the Pope has the power to dispose, which the source interprets as destroy heretical kings, princes, states, commonwealths, and governments.
Dispose governments. That's a huge claim of temporal power, far beyond just spiritual leadership.
Massive. And it's not just about allegiance. There's a strong element of renunciation, too.
Renouncing what?
The candidate supposedly states, I do now renounce and disown my allegiance as due to any heretical king, prince, or state named Protestant or liberals.
So rejecting any non-Catholic authority.
Or obedience to any of the laws, magistrates, or officers. And it goes further, declaring the doctrines of Protestant groups, churches of England, Scotland, Calvinists, Huguenots, as damnable.
Damnable. That's strong language. So it's an ideological declaration of war, essentially.
You could definitely see it that way. And it doesn't stop at just denouncing. It commits the Jesuit to action.
What kind of action?
Active extermination. They pledge to help assist and advise all or any of His Holiness's agents to extirpate the heretical Protestants or liberal doctrines.
Extirpate, meaning root out or destroy completely.
And to destroy all their pretended powers, regal or otherwise.
Destroy their powers.
Okay.
What about personal obedience? How absolute is that?
It's described as total. The pledge includes having no opinion or will of my own or any mental reservation, whatever, even as a corpse or cadaver.
Like a corpse, no will at all.
But to unhesitatingly obey each and every command from my superiors in the militia of the Pope and of Jesus Christ. Absolute, unquestioning obedience.
And where might they be sent?
Anywhere. The obedience extends to being sent to any part of the world.
Any examples given?
Yes, from the frozen regions of the north to the burning sands of the desert of Africa or the jungles of India.
So global reach is emphasized.
And even, quote, to the wild horns of the barbarous savages of America.
That phrasing, barbarous savages, that's jarring.
It is. The source implies this refers to Native Americans who wouldn't convert. It's important, as you note, that this language, quoted from the alleged oath, is deeply offensive by today's standards.
Absolutely. Okay, this sounds extreme already, but I feel like we're building towards the most intense part.
We are. This is where the oath, as presented, takes a truly deeply unsettling turn. It promises relentless war.
How is it phrased?
The candidate pledges to wage relentless war secretly or openly against all heretics, Protestants, and liberals.
Secretly or openly, again, covering all bases.
To extirpate and exterminate them from the face of the whole
Or
earth.
exterminate them from the whole earth. That's genocidal language.
It is. And the oath explicitly states, I will spare neither age, sex, or condition. No mercy.
No mercy. Are there specific methods mentioned? This is getting dark.
It gets incredibly graphic. The methods listed are shocking.
Like what? Brace ourselves here.
The oath allegedly details a commitment to hang, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive these infamous heretics.
Bury alive. Flay. This is horrific.
It continues. Rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women and crush their infants' heads against the walls.
Okay. That's incredibly violent and disturbing imagery. It's hard to even comprehend.
It absolutely is. And while these alleged methods are truly horrific, it's worth remembering that this kind of extreme, violent language sometimes appears in historical propaganda, especially during intense religious conflicts used by one side against another.
That's a fair point for context, but the details themselves, as claimed in the oath, are just brutal.
No question. And it doesn't stop with open violence? What if that's not possible?
Are there secret methods mentioned too?
Yes. The oath supposedly allows for the secret use of the poison cup, the strangulating cord.
Strangulating cord.
Hanging from doorknobs. And here, the source narrator makes a very direct, highly controversial, and completely unverified connection, saying, like the Clinton suicides.
Wow. Okay, so the source narrator is injecting a very modern, specific conspiracy theory right into the interpretation of this historical text. That's a significant layer added by the source itself.
It absolutely is. It's crucial to separate the alleged oath text from the narrator's contemporary interpretations and claims. The oath text continues with, the steel of the poniard, a type of dagger or the leaden bullet.
So poison, strangulation, stabbing, shooting, all secretly if needed. Against whom?
Anyone. These actions are to be carried out regardless of the honor, rank, dignity, or authority of the target.
So no one is off limits.
Apparently not, as I at any time may be directed to do so by the agent of the Pope or superior of the Brotherhood of Holy Faith of the Society of Jesus.
Following orders from the hierarchy, what happens if someone breaks this incredibly intense oath?
There's a penalty, and it's just as vicious. It's a self-inflicted curse.
A curse. What does it say?
May my brethren and fellow soldiers of the militia of the Pope cut off my hands and feet and my throat from ear to ear, my belly open and sulfur burned therein.
Good grief.
With all the punishment that can be inflicted upon me on earth, and my soul be tortured by demons in an eternal hell forever.
So, eternal damnation and horrific physical punishment by his own brothers if he fails or breaks the oath, that's about as extreme as it gets.
It really is. The ultimate penalty for betrayal.
Given those vows, how is this sealed? Is there a physical act involved?
Yes, according to the source, there's a final, highly controversial physical act.
What is it?
The candidate receives a Catholic communion wafer. Then they take the dagger.
The one they were holding against their heart.
That's the one. They apparently pierce their own heart with it. Not fatally, but enough to draw blood.
Draw their own blood with the dagger.
Yes. Then they dip the point of the dagger in that blood and use it to write their own name on the communion wafer, the sacrament.
Write their name in blood on the host. That sounds...
Sacrilegious. The source and narrator explicitly calls it that. He says it's sacrilegious and anti-Catholic, stating flatly, we do not take blood oaths in Catholicism.
So the narrator himself flags this as being outside Catholic practice. Does he compare it to anything else?
He does. He draws a parallel to rituals he attributes to Maid Med and the Mafia.
The Mafia.
Really, that's the comparison. Describing rituals where people supposedly cut their hand, mix blood over a fire with a religious relic, and swear to burn in hell if they break an oath of silence and omerta.
So he's trying to place this alleged Jesuit ritual in the same category as organized crime oaths.
Exactly. Trying to solidify this image of the Jesuits as a secretive, violent organization bound by extreme blood oaths, similar to the Mafia.
Okay. So once this oath is taken, this ritual completed, how do these alleged high-ranking Jesuits recognize each other? Is there a secret handshake?
The source mentions methods beyond just the standard sign of the cross. It talks about specific hand gestures.
Like what?
Things like crossing wrists and feet in a certain way, pointing fingers toward the palms of the hands, and making a circle around the head, though the source narrator admits he didn't read all of this part, but he compares it to Masonic handshakes.
So, secret signs for mutual recognition makes sense within the context of a secret order. Does the ritual end there?
It reportedly concludes with a kind of catechism, a question and answer session between the superior and the new initiate.
A catechism, like a reinforcement of the key points.
Precisely. It reinforces their allegiance and their mission. The superior asks, whom do you serve?
And the answer.
The Holy Father at Rome, the Pope, Roman Catholic Church, universal throughout the world.
Clear enough. What's next?
Who commands you? The reply. The successor of St. Ignatius Loyola and soldiers of Jesus Christ.
Referencing the founder of the Jesuits. Then what?
Then the core of the oath is revisited. What did you swear?
And how does the initiate summarize that extreme oath?
To destroy all heretics and their governments and rulers, and to spare neither age, sex, nor condition. To be a corpse without any opinion or will of my own, but to implicably obey my superiors in all things without hesitation or murmuring.
Wow, quite the summary. And the final confirmation.
Can you do that? The response, I will.
A simple, chilling affirmation.
The Q&A continues, touching on travel and purpose. How do you travel?
How do they travel?
In the bark of Peter the fisherman, a symbolic answer referencing the church, the papacy.
Okay, and where?
Whither do you travel? The answer, to the 4 quarters of the globe.
A whole world.
And here, the source narrator interjects again, quite pointedly, the Jesuits know it's a globe. Check that out.
Huh, okay. So the narrator is using this line to subtly mock flat earth theories, maybe? Or just highlighting the Jesuits' awareness of global geography for their alleged plans?
Seems like it. Highlighting what he sees as their hidden knowledge or global scope.
And the purpose of this global travel.
Obey the orders of my general and superiors, and execute the will of the Pope, and faithfully fulfill the conditions of my oath.
So it all comes back to obedience and the oath. Is there a final command?
Yes. The section concludes with this ultimate directive given to the new initiate. Go ye then into the world, and take possession of all lands in the name of the Pope.
Take possession of all lands.
He who will not accept him as the vicar of Jesus and his vice-regent on earth, let him be accursed and exterminated.
Accursed and exterminated. That's a remarkably bold, definitive statement of alleged global ambition and intolerance.
Absolutely. It leaves no room for doubt about the alleged mission, according to the source.
So, moving beyond the oath text itself, the source makes some broader connections, right? Modern implications.
Yes. The narrator doesn't just leave it in the past. He asserts the Vatican today is set up just like the mafia.
We heard that comparison earlier with the blood oath. How else?
He claims it engages in extortion, corruption, taxes, or tribute to Rome, trying to frame the church not as a religious body, but as a kind of global organized crime syndicate.
That's a strong accusation. How does he see Rome operating now?
He claims it continues to exert influence by using religion and secret societies together, in conjunction.
Working hand in hand?
Yes, claiming they own both sides of the coin. This idea implies a pervasive, hidden control over seemingly opposing forces in the world.
That controlling both sides theme, again, it's central to this particular worldview, isn't it?
Very much so. A single hidden hand manipulating events.
Now, there's also a particularly controversial claim about women in these orders.
Yes, quite niche and controversial.
Yeah.
Regarding groups like the Masons' Eastern Star, and within the Jesuit narrative he's building, he claims their involvement has nothing to do over love or their compassion for women.
So what's the alleged reason, then?
He links it to something called Lima and sex magic.
Sex magic. That sounds esoteric.
It is. It relates to certain occult traditions about using sexual energy or, quote, fluids that women can produce for magical rituals. He even mentions harvesting of starfire blood for high-ranking members.
Starfire blood. Okay, that's going deep into some very specific, obscure, esoteric lore there.
Extremely specific. Not something you hear in mainstream discussions, that's for sure.
And the source connects the Jesuits to other groups, too, right? It seemed like a whole web was being woven.
Yes, he branches out, linking them to various figures and concepts often found in conspiracy theories. Some may be less familiar.
Like the Rosicrucians.
Exactly. He states they're separate from Masons, but links them to the serpent and the worship of, well, a very specific entity.
Which is?
Dion the fish god, the Sumerian reptilian half-breed fish god.
Okay, a Sumerian reptilian fish god. That's quite a specific and unusual claim.
Highly specific, yes. Taps into certain reptilian conspiracy theories as well.
What about other groups? The Golden Dawn was mentioned.
The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, yeah. The famous magical order from the late 19th, early 20th century. He calls it an inner circle of the Rosicrucians.
And links it to Aleister Crowley.
Claims Crowley was a member, and that the Golden Dawn was ultimately serving the Vatican. So bringing it back to Rome again.
Always back to Rome. Any other groups mentioned?
Briefly, yeah. The Fraternal Order of Police, pointing to its pentagram logo as evidence it's a secret society.
The police fraternity. Okay.
And even a nod to pop culture.
Oh, how so?
He mentions the Stonecutters from The Simpsons.
The parody of the Masons.
Right. He calls it a real-world parallel and claims the show's creator, Matt Groening, and the voice of Mr. Burns are Masons and Bohemian Grovers.
So suggesting these hidden truths are being hinted at, maybe even mocked, in mainstream entertainment by insiders.
That seems to be the implication, yeah, tying it all together.
Okay, so just to recap, we've walked through these really extreme claims from the source about this alleged Jesuit blood oath.
The supposed contents, the incredibly detailed and violent ritualistic elements described.
Claims of global influence, hidden agendas operating through deception and infiltration.
And those chilling methods of control and extermination laid out in the oath text itself.
Plus the broader web the source weaves, connecting Jesuits to the mafia, Masons, Rosicrucians, esoteric magic, even pop culture.
It's certainly a lot to process. The source definitely paints a vivid, dramatic, and very dark picture of a hidden world.
It really does. So we'll leave you with this thought, based purely on the material we've explored today. Given these detailed assertions, the historical references, the sheer extremity of the claims presented by this source, what does it suggest to you about the lengths some organizations are alleged to go to exert power and control throughout history?
Something to definitely mull over.